wavy beard.
90s to a T.
Yeah.
I said champagne, I will call it champagne.
Yeah. No, we got so many good episodes to watch.
Oh, wait, I'm getting it. Nope, changed my mind. Boo.
This is funny until you have it.
No, but seriously, wave after wave of men.
In the future, there's an owl problem.
Sorry, but like, his name, huge ass.
Not
So do you listen to our podcast?
I'm sorry, there were whales on the moon.
We carry a harpoon.
God damn, I hate that we said that.
Shut up and take my podcast.
What was that?
Yeah, that's familiar. That sounds familiar.
I was going to say Vincent Price, but that's not even close to
No,
it.
no.
I just thought I did the face first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the voice followed.
And the voice came with it. Yeah.
So for audience members, he clenched his teeth and was constipated slightly.
Drew back my lips.
Welcome everybody to Shut Up and Take My Podcast,
Welcome,
the Futurama podcast.
You especially. You know who you are.
Oh, sorry. Actor in training, and I thought there was. I was like, why
No,
James?
I was visualizing them in space in front of me.
I thought you look at James, but James is always here.
Yeah,
Well, maybe you especially, because you had your birthday recently.
I
so
did very
happy
much, and I
birthday,
also
you.
need to remember to call my mum because it's her birthday today.
Oh, okay, right.
We're 2 days apart.
It's my birthday on Friday.
Is it? Well, happy belated. Happy. What's the opposite of belated?
Early.
Early. What's a better word than early?
Premature.
Premature birthday.
Happy premature birthday to you.
That sounds like I was born prematurely.
Were you?
No. I think I was think I was early. I think I was definitely early.
Okay.
And apparently I did some sort of Superman punch on my way out. My mum had to have stitches, which my mum loves to tell
Your
me.
mum was never the same.
Yeah, my mum loves to tell me that story.
Falcon
So if you're
punch.
listening, I've now shared that story with the world.
It feels like the opposite of like the end of Terminator 2 when he does the thumbs up when he's on his way down.
Yes! It's a boy. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
I think they knew beforehand. Before that point, I was a boy.
Oh, so no surprise one. Does anyone do the surprise birthday anymore?
So
Surprise birthdays.
I mean, as in, we don't know what's coming. Oh shit, it's a boy, or it's a girl, it's whatever. It's whatever. I don't know.
it's an alien.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like everyone's pretty
So I
obsessed
just see
with
those things
knowing.
on mainly in fail videos where they do they get everyone together and there's like a mystery box.
Oh,
and they
it's
open the box
yeah.
and pink or blue balloons come out.
I was
There's,
actually
the
watching,
babies in
I was
there.
watching these things.
It's a ball. Oh,
I watched
was
this
it?
yesterday where it's
It was.
and people have got the balloon order wrong and it's not all the same color and it's just they're like, oh, what is this? This has been ruined.
Intersex.
Yeah.
I'd be great is you do Schrodinger's baby, which is you give birth to the baby, put it in the box, and just never open it.
Until you give it a fire truck or a Barbie, it doesn't have a gender.
Welcome everybody to Shut Up and Take My Podcast, a Futurama podcast that milks Futurama for all its Farnsworth. Nailed it.
How long did you think of that one
I
for?
think that's a bit of a one shot though. I wouldn't use it next week.
Oh, I have a phone's full of
great.
all these.
From
Amy
1001 Futurama jokes.
Amy de Zoidberg was getting very old.
Yeah, I was realizing that, so I this is my new approach.
Yes.
Puns ahoy.
I don't want to milk Farnsworth though.
I'll milk
Don't
him.
knock it till you try it.
Yeah. Is there any milk left in that thing?
Was there ever to begin with? I am Sean, and I'm joined here by Phil.
Hello.
And James.
Hello.
I almost forgot you.
Yeah.
I was going to say Phil, and then I gave a pause. It's like,
Phil and... No, that's it.
who are
That's
you?
it, yeah.
This is why I gave him an extra special welcome, because you keep forgetting.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about Parasites Lost, which is season 3, episode 2, which is
Paradise Lost.
Paradise Lost.
by who?
John Milton. I
Oh.
wrote a dissertation on it at uni.
Was he good?
Oh, it's a fantastic poem.
No, was he good?
Oh, he's good.
He's
Yes,
good.
He's good.
But he was fantastic as well. Sorry.
He's good and fantastic and fantastical. There's a war in heaven and so.
Yeah, I tried to look
It's
at
good.
the...
It's got like
the-
Dante's Inferno or the Layers of Hell. Is that?
You're thinking of Dante's Inferno?
Yes, but there's like...
was like
Some of
Dante's
it does
Inferno.
play place in hell, but it doesn't concern the circles of hell. So,
Oh, okay.
I think the second or third section, I guess you'd call them books, deals with after Satan's fallen and he's down there with all the fallen angels and he gathers like a great council of demons, I guess you call them, and he has like his moment in the sun where he's like saying, "Oh, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to creation. We're gonna fuck up God's plan. It's gonna be the best." It's epic.
If that's the dialogue that's in there, I'm all in.
oh yeah,
We're going to go to
it's
hell,
that, but more
fuck
poetic.
up his place.
They don't really go with the conceit much more than they're parasites and he loses them. It's not really got anything to do
I feel
with,
every now and
to
then,
do
like-
with Eden.
No, it's just like, the reference doesn't matter. Just, it's a play on words.
And I'm pretty sure the titles are DVD titles. only anyway.
Director is Peter Avancino and writer is Eric Kaplan. So we got Peter Avancino back from Bender Gets Made, Mafia episode. Kaplan's back from Bicyclops, Built for Two.
Who we didn't like.
No, we didn't, did we?
It was the one that was just married with children.
Yeah.
A really extended marriage with children.
Yeah. So as your little tidbits for this week, so Eric Kaplan is a writer for a show called The Drinky Crow Show, which is just about, I think, a drunk crow.
Okay. Yeah.
Peter Avancino is one of two people who will return for the second run of Futurama. So once they come back, only two directors come back from the original run. They just get all new directors from then.
Sure, cool.
We have air date January 21st, 2001. Introducing no one, but we introduced the Holophoner.
We also, I guess, I mean, it's not really a recurring character, but the King of the Worms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't think he comes back.
Which is
does
a
he? No.
voice, that voice is used elsewhere.
It's Dan Harmon. Yeah.
It's Dan Harmon,
Yeah. So he's used for every time they have some sort of foreign dictator or a
It's
character
always
from another
Dan
planet, just like that kind of guy.
I do like to have swords.
It's a
Totally
bit
makes
regal.
no sense.
Who wants to run down the plot?
Fry gets worms. They make him smart and strong, and they make Leela fall in love with him. But then he can't work. He wants to know if the worms, if she loves him or the worms. So he gets rid of the worms, and she doesn't love him anymore.
She doesn't.
That's it.
It's a super clear cut answer.
Yeah.
What do we think, guys?
It's like
I like this episode.
I like it, but it's like that Simpsons episode where Homer removes the crown from his brain.
Homer, which won the Emmy
Yeah, and everyone's like,
this year.
Why do you leave it in, you dumbass?
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like you've basically bettered yourself. Then he's like, oh, I should probably put it back.
Yeah, it's
you know?
cartoon continuity though. You
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
have the Simpsons with a smart
Yeah.
Homer.
No, it doesn't
So-
work.
And you couldn't have Futurama with a clever Fry. Like you
I
have
know.
to return.
But
to
of course
the
you could.
status
That's
quo.
it's like at the same time I love this episode. At the same time that frustrates me so much.
Oh, of course,
Because
right?
it's like he's bettered himself in every way, like physically, mentally, and this is great. To be fair, I
would keep them.
When I was just a kid. I'm like, where do I get these worms?
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
these worms. They would make my life so easy.
Tune up my brain,
Yeah.
jazzercise my muscles.
Is jazzercise still a thing, or was that strictly like a naughties 90s? Like, I feel like jazzercise has come and gone.
No one's
I'm not sure
jazzercising anyone.
jazzercise was a thing when it was a thing.
Yeah.
What is jazzercise? Isn't it just
Exercise to jazz.
doing
I
to jazz?
believe.
So it's just the music is
you
the
do
difference.
sort of jazzy movements.
So it's like the
maybe.
prelude to Zumba, basically.
I guess.
Yeah, there's always like some kind
yeah.
of dance related to some kind of music.
Faith now does Naya, which is like even more kind of free-form
Naya?
dance exercise. Yeah, it's called Naya, N-I-A. She doesn't like Tuesday night, so it's
So
very
you can be like,
free-form.
I got
and,
accepted
like,
to
just
Naya.
We're just missing...
Ironically,
dramatic
without the dance in the name.
Without the dance. No.
I do feel that if Fry was
it dramatic?
to stay with the worms for the rest
It's
of
not dance, mate. It's dramatic.
clearly I don't go to Niagara. So
It's like, well, I never got
It's
in.
not the National Institute of Dancing
dancing arts. Although that would
Dancing
be
ants.
I do like imagining Chris. That's what he's really doing there.
I said dance, people.
Eat nails.
I do feel that if Fry had kept the worms, he would annoy everyone except Leela. Like I feel like
Yeah,
a
that
really
would have been a fun
smart
explanation. Yeah,
Fry
yeah.
would just infuriate everyone.
He'd become like a less annoying Cupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could have been such a. It's kind of sad. He could have been such a great character.
He kind of uses his smarts in weird ways. Like he does the cliche romantic gesture of stepping in a puddle so Leela can come across. Had she just stepped 2 steps to the left, there was no water there.
Yeah,
just go around.
To be fair, that's all the cases. Whenever those like stories that happens in movies or something, there's always an easier way.
So just do the easier thing.
I guess the idea he's become thoughtful.
Yeah,
At all,
We'll
right?
use his thoughts.
Yeah.
Go around. Then your shoes are clean and her boots
Yes.
are clean.
I just wish this episode went longer. It felt pretty quick. It's kind
They
of like,
could have cut short some of the truck stop stuff to get more.
yeah.
They did.
Really?
They
They
cut
cut a
out
lot of stuff.
5 minutes worth.
Yeah,
of
it's
footage.
the weakest part of the episode.
Yeah. I mean, they originally
good
have
visual
them
jokes in it, but-
coming from a planet, and then Fry gets on the speaker and he's like, breaker, we need a truck stop. And
Instead, they just start with a convoy.
Yeah.
Which is
USA.
actually, I love the way like they use the convoy song because do you know there's a movie based on the song?
Really?
No, not the other way around. There's a movie Convoy based on the song.
so the same thing that they're going to be doing with Mariah Carey that we talked about
Yes,
last week.
Yes.
Yes.
They're like,
Yes.
this is a good song. Let's make a movie about it. Makes no sense. It's not. It's
It
not a
also
good
makes
movie.
no sense that
We got a great big convoy.
spaceships
Need a
in the infinite void of space would all go down like a
Like a
really
highway.
narrow highway lane where they're
always-
so close to each other.
It's like I've always wondered how 3D traffic works. It's like once you introduce that next dimension, how do the lanes work?
I've played Elite Dangerous a lot, which is a highly realistically scaled space trucking game, essentially. Although you can be a pilot, whatever. Only really matters at spaceports, where there's a slot where ships come in and out, and that's where you run into people. Otherwise, go where the fuck you like. Space is quite large.
Also, like, goddamn, petrol is cheap.
Yes.
Like, thousands of gallons is like $10.
But also the ship runs on dark matter.
Yes, I don't know why they're doing that.
Or what's the matter?
Or what's the matter?
Yeah, what's the matter?
I want to know
That
what
was a
runs on.
really cheap joke. I love it.
So I want to know what runs on what's the matter.
Yeah. Oh, and the very first visual joke as well, when they're in the convoy, it's historic
Route
66.
Square route
Square route
66.
66. But of course you can say that as just route.
Yeah.
How can you?
It's colloquial to just say route 4, route 66.
Oh, okay. I'll give the Harvard writers that.
Voyager spacecraft.
Yeah, it's nice that it's cleaning
just
it
got
off.
bugs, a small planet, and the Voyager spacecraft on the windshield.
Yeah, just scrubbing it off.
Just a piece of history, just smashed against the Planet Express.
the whole like trucking interaction, I guess, altercation, where it's like there's some good
Gus.
We've got Gus, and it's like she's got more meat than a cow.
Oh,
and then
no, Sal.
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 Where did Gus come from?
I have no idea.
He could be Gus, I think.
He just looks like a Gus. I think.
I can see that, but yeah, Sal works pretty well.
Gus is sort of short for Giuseppe, is it?
Or Gustavo.
Gustavo Fring, yeah.
Or Angus.
Okay, ignore me then.
yeah, lots of things, but
Yeah.
like I guess a bit funny, but at the same time,
It's not very funny. I disagree wholeheartedly. I don't think it's very funny at all.
I want it cut because I want more
Inner
stuff
space- inner
afterwards.
space stuff.
Yeah. Well, actually, I want less of that even. Like,
Really?
I want less of the crew going in, and I want more of Fry becoming smart and how would that deal,
Right, okay,
how
yeah.
would that deal with the world?
Well, to me, the strongest part of the episode is the Fry and Leela interaction.
Yeah.
Which this is an episode where I'm happy for it to be less funny, and I think it is less funny. There's like the highlights for me are far and beyond Zoidberg. Everything
there's
Zoidberg
great
ever
Zoidberg
says, it's like
stuff.
every good line is just shoved to him,
Yeah.
and works completely.
And what's it like? He's talking about like going inside and scurrying through his innards, and it's like everything about that.
I like everything. There was no part of that sentence I didn't like.
He also brings up a TV show that I really want to see, Gumbercules.
Gumbercules. I
yeah,
love that
Gumbo.
guy.
It's as strong as Gumbo and Hercules. I'd really like all the fun with size stuff though. There's the Planet Express conference table, and then it zooms in, and they're all around a tiny conference table. I really love that. There's all sorts of like little tiny size things that are just cute. I love them.
Which I just imagine would be a pain for the
sphincters
animators.
and
It's like
things.
working out relative how does everything work, and you've got a big Leela and the small table. Like they had a lot of issues scaling things.
Yeah,
and working
for
it out.
sure.
It's like that thing of writers write whatever you want, shove it to the animators,
And they're like,
Yeah.
"What?"
why?
And the fact that the ship they used to go inside is a miniature Planet,
Planet Express ship.
Of course, it has to be. Scruffy's back.
Scruffy's finally, because when did we first see him? It was just he was introduced in.
I think he's an anthology
in Anthology of Interest, which
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
canon.
Scruffy, never seen you before.
Yeah, this is the first canon appearance of. So either.
Well, they still don't recognize him.
No.
Like,
No.
because again, Bender is like, who are you?
So I wonder if like the What If machine either
Created.
figured that Scruffy was going to eventually become an employee, which means it's an even more powerful machine than I thought.
Yeah, because like he's only in the actual.
He's in the story
Yeah,
within
he's
the
in the
story.
What If, yeah.
And Scruffy hasn't been there, so they're like, you're eventually going to get Scruffy as an employee.
What
He's
if
just
not-
been there
yeah,
the whole
it was
time,
just
and
a
no
what if.
one's seen him before.
Well, because what is the role of a janitor? Just clean shit up. So would
He's kind of
maintenance, and,
cleaning and
yeah.
maintenance. So the idea, because the thing is that he's sitting there reading Zero G Jugs.
does
and then
janitors
he's
do
meant to-
maintenance, fix things, or do they
Well,
just clean things?
Often a janitor for a building like that would be in charge of fixing things as
Yeah,
well. And
I
Bender expects him to fix it. Bender's
Yeah.
like, why aren't you fixing this?
I think like.
and he's scheduling.
Yeah, I think
conflicts.
like roles have changed over time. It would be like the janitor would also be like the general maintenance man and kind of gardening and
in a
everything.
like an apartment building.
Yeah, where
That's what
now
they're
it's
for.
more like everyone has to get licenses for that particular skill. It changed the trade industry. Kind of thing.
Counterpoint, he is doing exactly the role that he's meant to be doing.
Reading jokes.
Yes.
Reading zero G jokes.
Scruffy's gonna die the way he lived.
Did Bender get any injuries? Was it just fried?
He had his head exploded off
Apart from
because
that,
he's drinking gasoline and lighting
Lighting a cigar.
And then they also use his head
It's a battering
It's
ram.
battering
ram, so he gets double
That's-
injured.
But an
not the first time
explosion
with it.
from 5 feet away, he's fine.
He's
Yeah.
fine. I'm sure they put him back together. It was off screen that
I do know
he
he
fell
was
apart.
coming through. His head flies by.
This episode was number 4 on IGN's top Futurama episodes of all time.
Cool. I do really like this
Yeah,
episode.
It's a really good one.
That was in 2006.
Right.
When they had the second run, and then all the other episodes came in, it then went to number, it's not on the list.
I got knocked out. Yeah.
So, yeah, so they revisited the entire series and took it out completely.
It's a really fun inner space style episode. I really like
Yeah.
it.
To be fair, I don't like the movie Inner Space. I believe that has the it's like, what's the discount store Harrison Ford? He was in the Cheaper by the Dozen remake. I mean, not
Steve
remake.
Martin?
No, the ripoff. It's not too Cheaper by the Dozen. It's is it Yours, Mine, and Ours or something? And they have like he's like a he works for like the Sea Patrol or something.
I think I know
Dennis
this.
Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
Oh.
Dennis Quaid is the discount Harrison
Discount
Ford.
Harrison Ford.
If you look at him, he is. But like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him and like Martin Short. And the movie is annoying. It's just annoying because Martin Short is
Martin
annoying.
Short is kind of annoying. And it's like not the only movie where people get shrunk and go
It's-
inside
Well,
other
Fantastic
people.
Voyage.
Yeah, Fantastic Voyage,
And like
yeah.
every
1966.
cartoon show will have
Will happen at
we'll
some
have an
point. If it's
episode where
sci-fi,
someone
right?
goes,
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
we'll
My
go-
favorite is Ren and Stimpy, where Stimpy goes inside himself
like Fry does. Yeah.
through his belly button, though. Like he looks inside his belly button, sticks his head into his belly button, and then goes inside himself, and he's just a belly button on the floor, but he's walking around himself. And then Ren has to go into Stimpy to save Stimpy, but then eventually Ren goes back to normal size, and he's stuck inside Stimpy as a normal size. It's really fucked up. It's the weirdest.
They so much crack they were on writing that show. Surely
They got away with so much
something.
stuff.
I'm not sure they were on something.
It's like those really early 90s shows that continually beat the censors,
Yeah.
but they're being more blatant than you'd think that they'd be
They
able
would
to get
ever
away
get
with.
past. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember they think like, oh, no one's actually watching this trash. They don't actually care.
But they're supposed the censors are supposed to be like required to watch everything because
Yeah.
there was that the paint drying one. Have you heard that?
No.
This guy was at a protest about his movie not getting through, so he crowdfunded a movie about paint drying that he submitted to the censors because they're required to watch all of it, and he got so much support. I think it ended up with like a 5-hour or 6-hour movie of paint drying, and they're required to watch it because
Could have something in it.
What if it has tits like
Yeah,
3/4 of the way
true.
through?
It's like at like 4 hours and 29 minutes, it's like one frame of tits.
You'd get that
Imagine,
DVD,
like, it's
and it's like MA or R. It's like,
And you're
why?
like, paint dry the movie with nudity.
Which means you'd
Contains
have
strong
to,
nudity.
you would have to watch
Yeah,
it.
you're just watching it like, I can't miss this. You have to pay
Like,
attention.
it's paint drying on naked ladies. Nope.
No, imagine if you watched it all, but like you'd missed it, and you're like, I have to
fell
go back.
asleep.
I have to go
5
back.
minutes. It must have been there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they would put it on the back as like a tiny thumbnail. You're like, okay, so it's definitely in there.
It's definitely got-
It's
yeah.
in there somewhere. I need to keep. I will find it.
Yeah.
So I like the gags that run through this episode. Like you say, it's happy for it to be not as funny, and it isn't as. I got a real good laughs out of this. Like
Yeah.
Bender's abandoned ship, like about
Yeah.
8 times. Abandoned ship. Whatever happens, whatever goes wrong.
I like how that's it, but also like Zoidberg rocking up on a sperm.
On a You'll never guess where I've been.
That was very funny as a kid.
Immediately I just think him getting off that thing would be the worst. It's like stick to him, and he'd have to. It's just.
It's just the one sperm.
yeah,
it's
but
not the whole concoction.
relative to size.
I don't know if individual sperms are sticky.
No,
It's
I think it's the
stuff that's floating.
yeah that
But if
that's
it's
the thing
floating in
about
it, it'd
He
be
would
on
have
it.
had to get it out of the floating in it stuff.
It'd still be there. It'd
I
be
think
on
he
it.
would have
It
gone
be
in and been
clean.
like and just eaten his way through it all.
Oh my god.
Oh, look, I'm just saying, Zoidberg would. He's a hungry guy.
Hermes' famous jerk prunes.
What is it
Yeah.
called? Colombian Drano?
Jamaican.
Jamaican
Drano.
Oh.
Did you notice that like when he
Such a gross joke.
when they're looking through the two-way mirror at Fry
Yeah.
and like they're like, oh, I can't watch. He's got like
It's like a racquetball scoop, right?
I thought it was like a lacrosse
Yeah,
racket.
you're thinking across.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a lacrosse racket full of popcorn.
He just
Yeah, it
shovels
was a-
and I
was
was
a-
like, wow.
It was a deleted subplot.
Was it?
So
Okay.
basically, one of the things they were going to have is near the top of the episode, once Fry's already got the worms, Hermes is saying, "Okay, so all our metal cutlery's gone missing. So
Is that why Fry's full of forks and knives in his stomach?
Until further notice, we have to use these things to eat all our food. Fry has an urge to eat metal because the worms need metal to build the cities. And so, but they just cut that completely. But they still have the scene where Hermes is using it to eat.
Yeah,
the
and
popcorn.
they still have forks and knives like integrated into the city.
Yeah. That's
but they
why.
just don't explain. I think that was okay for me because I just understood that Fry's the kind of person
Yeah,
who
he's-
might eat cutlery.
Eat a fork, yeah.
Well, like even,
Worms or not, he's just gonna eat them.
even when Sal comes at, like when he confronts Sal and Sal gets a knife and attacks him, Fry originally in the script he like beats him up and then gets a knife and eats it. Just continuing it on.
And Leela's not worried.
Yeah, it's full of like really good one-shot jokes. Like, guess again. He goes, "I've got
We have
to
to
go
go
inside
inside
take
with
you with
this
this camera. And he opens his mouth.
Yeah.
Guess again.
Guess again. I learned that from a commercial.
Yeah. Soothing action.
It's those points where I just realize he really isn't all there.
No.
Just something with Zoid. It's like, read the room.
He's so insane, but I love him. Question, guys.
Did you notice that?
Would you take the worms? Because I know you said you
Oh, I'd take the worms.
you take
Oh,
the-
yeah, sure.
Will you- yeah, take
Of course.
them. Yeah.
He had a lead pipe through him that gets cut off. And
Yeah.
he just mends
But I
himself.
think, like, at what point would the worms eventually take control of him? Like, because they would expand, obviously, and would they build their cities in his brain?
And then he's doing the will
he's
of the
he's like a
worms.
husk, basically. Like,
Oh.
because like maybe
if that's the case, then no.
because I feel like that's
no.
the danger that Farnsworth was kind of worrying about, where it's like they're always going to be in him, and obviously they're going to spread out more and more and more. They've got nowhere to go.
They could have articulated that though. That
Doesn't
would've been
seem
more
like
of a thing.
from the limited time we spend with them, it doesn't seem like they have malicious intent. They seem to be happy to just
Help
be
out,
there,
right?
and they respect the known universe.
Well, they respect it, but then like Fry's saying, "Oh, I don't know, like was that song me? Maybe 50% me. I don't know." They're saying how much influence are they having
Are the
on him?
worms having? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, they're small now, and he was third generation worm. In 20 generations, where are they going to be? Is
I
there a
guess the
city gonna be
scarier
everywhere?
thing is, would you know they're controlling you, or is it just you think you're having
Yeah,
these
you would
thoughts?
think it's you, but
you
it's
think
the
it's you
worms.
doing
You're
it, but
just
it's them influencing.
Just a collection
They are
of
the
worms.
worms.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And then one day you're sitting there and you just burst worms everywhere.
Oh god.
And they start. It'd be like a horror movie. Then like the worms start taking control of other people. Like maybe like Fry's making out of Leela, and then the worms go into her, and then she
Well,
becomes a
that
worm.
was another initial plan they had, was to have he has sex with Leela, and then they infest Leela as well. And
That's
it
like a
makes,
horror movie.
It makes some sort of two-headed monster thing. Like, it got really weird. Hit the cutting room floor, wasn't him?
Yeah, but that is like a horror movie where it's like you're spreading worms. Then there's like it's like body snatchers basically. Like,
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Also, like an analogy for just STDs in general.
Yeah, true.
Do you have worms?
I think about idea of STDs. No, I would take the
Well,
worms.
I will
Risk it
tell
all.
you after the podcast about all my STDs. There's a couple of like callbacks in this as well. There's Axe.
Axe.
So
is in this. I
proud.
circled that. Axe.
And,
Yes.
what's the like owls?
What's
There's
that?
owls.
Yeah,
Owls,
lots of
because
owls.
owls were brought in to eradicate the rats.
Rats,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's owls. There's one on the boiler
Yeah,
hanging
yeah.
out. There's one. There's
Like three on the street.
three on the street.
Yeah,
that
being
he's
fed
feeding.
bread.
Yeah. There's also the Amy Leela rivalry because she's really tiny. She's like, maybe you should think of a cleanser for your paws.
Yeah.
And she just goes, just blows her away across the table.
Leela has the most amazing precision out of any person I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Yeah, she can just blow one person.
Amy and not the rest of the next to her from the building. She can shoot her miniature
Oh, yeah,
self
yeah.
into Fry's tea across the road.
That's pretty impressive,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Like,
She can blow.
she can blow. She's incredible.
that shot, you kind of glance over it, but that's like a block.
Like, I'm
She
no,
shoots.
I'm no sniper, but you need to take into account wind resistance,
yeah.
distance, speed,
Drop.
the drop, like the curve,
And the overall
Fry's gonna move.
the overall aerodynamics of a miniature person.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. And
Yeah.
they're just like, it's all right.
It's fine.
In it goes. And Bender, in the very ending scene, Bender's wearing pajamas.
You wrote that down, and I wrote it down. I'm like, I think I know exactly what he's writing down.
He's wearing
Why is
pajama
Bender wearing
pants?
pants?
So good. I love this. Just like hanging out in his apartment, so he puts on
Super
pajama
casual, yeah.
pants.
That's a nice touch. I think.
No reason. It's so good. There's like not much Bender function in this. Bender function is like my one thing I always call out. He uses his arm as a wrench, which I think he's done before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he just like detaches one arm and then uses the other arm as a wrench.
It's just
not
Bender
really
wanting
new.
Bender needing comfort because he doesn't even sleep in a bed. He sleeps standing up.
Yeah.
In a closet. It's just like, time for bed, just gotta put on my comfy pants.
Comfy pants. Everyone's got inside pants, right?
Yeah.
I think I have those exact pants as well.
Okay. I've started thinking about coming to these podcasts wearing my inside pants, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you should. Get more relaxed. And
Yeah,
weird.
These jeans. This is really cramping.
You don't even need to wear pants. It's fine.
We've all gone.
Hang
shirtless
on.
before.
Pants are coming off. That cut you just heard there in the recording, that was all of us taking off our pants.
Yep.
We don't confuse
What's
us.
this sound?
Write to us and find out. Don't confuse us for Sans Pants Radio.
Yeah.
Those guys, weirdly, they always wear pants.
Yeah,
I've seen them.
It's
yeah.
meta.
Meta,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was sand pants, but
Sand. Oh.
Also, not good.
no,
Ooh.
not good.
And also, now we've mentioned them, they have to mention us. It's the rule of podcasting.
Speaking of disgusting things, the sound effect of the worms moving.
Really?
Oh, it's
Don't
awful.
like it? I think
It's
it's
just
fine.
like that squishy. It's. Oh, I'm not a fan. It's like you just close your eyes and just listen to it,
They're worms. What else are they gonna make?
like clanking noises.
Clanking.
Nice manly clanking
squeak and they go
noises. Yeah, it's a bit more comical.
I do like the level of tech.
Like tanks.
They look like flying tanks
And swords.
But also swords
and just kind of their own architecture, ermine robes and a crown for the leader,
Yeah.
and little army helmets.
And what do they shoot? Like white blood cells or something?
They're weird.
It
They're
seems
like
to be the
little
exact same
buzzsaws.
lasers that the crew were using, so it's just like
No.
general gun tech.
When they shot, it was like
These discs, right?
Yeah, like little discs or
Oh,
something.
right.
Yeah, they're completely unaffected. All they do is just like pump the
Yeah.
Planet Express through
Yeah.
the sphincter. I have a feeling that all of the biological stuff they mention is accurate.
Yeah, because you were talking about
Probably.
the planktic ganglion.
The ganglia. And you do have, your stomach has, and your bowels have their own, it's not a brain per se, but it's its own kind of intense set of neurons that exist around your stomach that control contraction and bowel movement and telling you when you're hungry and stuff. So you have like a brain in your stomach, but it's like a super pseudo brain. And I think the ganglia that do the evacuating the bowels, I'm pretty sure it's accurate what he's saying. Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
And he's like, oh, we're nearing this sphincter, like, and I think that's the correct term as well,
Okay.
which is pretty cool.
Educational too. Is always nice.
Thinking of things that are disgusting, Fry's ear.
Yeah, it's
And the
not
ship
clean
is
there.
like oozing through earwax. That is really gross. And the animation makes it extra, like, it's like stuck against the wall.
I do like when the finger jams in, and you get to see like all those
The
finger,
little
like,
chip in the nail.
and like all the detail, like the fingerprints.
Fingerprint
yeah,
in his
it's
finger.
nice.
Also,
Yeah.
what he's doing is horrible for his ear. All that
Don't
does,
do that, people.
All that does is pushes the wax further closer
Yeah,
to
don't-
his brain.
You heard it here on Baby Beard. Do not stick your fingers in your ears.
Just don't do it.
No,
Don't do it.
not worth it.
Don't do it.
Stick other things in your ears. Take
Like-
that however you want.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of things like
Crayons,
crayons, peanuts.
penis.
Penis?
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say that on air.
Well, it's not
live on air.
It's not well, it is live. Sorry.
It's live.
Yes, yeah,
Streaming.
It's definitely alive.
We are alive. That's what that means, right?
We are alive.
We are alive.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
this is an alive podcast.
Oh, good. We are alive.
Sorry that took so much explaining. It was awful.
I was like, wait a minute.
It's very highbrow.
So what don't we like doing your job?
I wanted more.
You want to see nice Fry.
I
We
want
can-
to
we
see
can talk a bit
nice,
more about
articulated
their relationship as well. We
Fry,
haven't
yeah.
talked about that
Well,
much.
it's important. This is
The holophoner is a setup
Yeah.
for later, isn't it?
the devil's hands are idle playthings is where it comes back as a major plot point again, which is once again a Fry Leela centered episode, because this is the first time Fry has said I love you
to her. Yeah, yeah.
in a way that's not stupid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is actually articulated properly.
This episode really reflects quite poorly on Leela, really, because you see in the very final scene where he gets the holophone around, he makes a nice picture of Leela, that he is sweet, does care about her, and he does want to make her happy, and it is him that she fell in love with, I think. And she's like, nah, not interested.
It's the problem is that at the moment, contextually, she's only got the rest of what she's seen with Fry, which is like the interaction he has with Sal, which is essentially calling her like meat-filled and...
She's got loads of meat. She's got more meat than a cow.
Yeah, it's like in past episodes, what have they done? They've crashed the Planet Express crew when they took the building along with her. Like, he's pretty... At this point, so...
He's irresponsible and annoying.
And to be like, look, I've got I've got like a bag of grease that I'm going to rub on your back. Amy loved it when we were dating.
Yeah, that is a killer.
It's like a deal breaker. From her point of view, it is pretty easy to see, like, she actually does think, almost justifiably so, that she was in love with the worms. Even though she might not know it, she does love him.
But he does do all the gaffes. Like, I think it's pretty justifiable that he's like, Amy loved it when I get romance.
I work with her.
No. Plus, like, they have that rivalry. You don't bring up Amy. You don't.
I do love he just goes, uh-oh.
Yeah. At least he knows that wasn't the best thing to do.
Read the room, Fry. What celebrities is Bender hanging out with?
Oh, yeah, he's going to go, what is he going, skydiving or something?
Is it just like a bunch of heads?
Yeah, I think it must be heads.
Either that
I
or
reckon
it's...
Bender is just super popular with everybody.
Or he's just...
Nixon. I bet he's going skydiving with Nixon.
Either that or he's not actually going with friends. Like, he knows that Elzar and Calculon are going, so he's just going to be there as well.
Land on me, Calculon.
No, it'll be like he's just flying the plane or something.
With a moustache.
Yeah, with a moustache. And then, like, they'll be like, it's like, hey, guys. He's like, who's playing the plane? I don't know. Because he just stops because he wants to talk to them, basically.
That animation sequence of the holophone is kind of interesting. It's an interesting interlude, right? It's a very earnest bit of the show, right? It's not heaps long. It's like a minute long, I'd say.
Probably not even that. Maybe less.
Maybe
like, feels
40,
longer,
30
but it's
seconds,
packed with a
45
lot.
seconds. And it's just kind of abstract, kind of sweetly done animation stuff. It doesn't lead into a joke or anything like that. It's just is what it is. Unfiltered kind of like sentimentality.
Yeah. And still quirky in a lovely way. Like, they're just two otters swimming
together.
together.
Yeah, I like otters, so that tickled me.
And a one-eyed otter as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's like, what's the meaning of this?
It doesn't have to have one, I think. And it fits.
I'm going to go with secretly.
It doesn't have to have one. Shut up, Phil. I'm going to give it otters.
Yes, no. Secretly, Fry is saying that he is an otter. As in the gay term, otter.
Please do explain.
Like, there's like bears and twinks.
So what is an otter?
I've been described as a good otter before,
an
apart
otter,
from not being gay.
Yeah, otter's like...
It's like a mini bear.
Oh, no, that's more of a cub. Oh, it depends. Like, an otter's kind of like, not really like super skinny, just like kind of like averagely skinny kind of guy who's hairy.
Body hair or just...
So a twink is
hair.
like a really skinny, clean cut
Yeah.
guy.
No hair.
Bear is like a big gay guy.
Big
who's, like,
cub
big,
is like a bigger, I would say like chubbier,
but a
kind
bit
of
sweeter.
very hairy, and then there's like otter, which is like the skinnier version.
So are you an otter?
Yeah.
You're an
Yeah,
otter.
yeah.
You're an otter.
Oh.
I've been described as an otter,
Yeah.
but I'm not gay.
People like labels, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
No, humanity
Yeah.
loves to label things. So
We love a label or
yeah.
two. So that's what you reckon? He's secretly
He's
confessing.
secretly, he's an otter.
I don't.
That's
believe
where the term
correct.
came from.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that they find room for that in the episode, and it's earnest. It's not played for laughs. It's a bit of that early days part of that kind of really sweet stuff that they really do with a great success later, particularly things like Jurassic Park, which is seen as like the most sentimental episode of Futurama. Everyone's like, I'm not crying. I'm not. Just something in my eye.
Bark. I do like that they're absolutely fine with going dramatic and going
Yeah.
emotional and going earnest, and they don't feel the need to always undercut it with a joke. It's just progressing a storyline. It's just progressing an ongoing storyline and actually giving it...
And investing in your characters.
Yeah.
And giving them depth. Yes, it's a cartoon. Yes, it's a comedy, but the characters have something in them worth exploring. And they do that more later again with like Kif and Amy. When they have their wedding, you get more about them. And they say that it's the writers backing themselves up and going, hey, people want to know more about these characters and they want to know what makes them tick.
I think that's something they learnt doing The Simpsons.
Yeah,
They're
for sure.
like about the characters, about family and friends, and that's really what kind of drives the show. Like, we use comedy around that. You really should care about who you're watching,
Even if it's Zoidberg.
especially
if it's Zoidberg.
And character Fry in particular is like, for everyone who said the wrong thing to someone when they meant to say something better and it
Yeah.
came out wrong, and
Yeah.
fuck it all.
This is you.
Everyone who's bought a sandwich from a bathroom.
Which,
in a
who
truck
hasn't?
stop. I mean,
I
all of us
couldn't eat
have,
that
right?
sandwich.
I can't even eat sandwiches from the petrol station down the road.
Yeah.
I've seen those ones. I'm like, I don't trust
Yeah,
it.
maybe it's this episode watching it as a kid being like, no, I can never eat I can never eat a
It's
truck
full
stop.
of disgusting things, isn't it?
I know.
Like
Yeah.
when he gets the
It's
sandwich,
like a black tomato.
black tomato, and like the slot that it falls into has this thick layer of grime when he pulls it out of the
Yeah.
slot. Oh, it's so disgusting.
And also, like, when the sandwich falls down, it just has a bit of compression, a bit of slop already. I'm like, I feel like it shouldn't still be as sloppy as it is.
Yeah,
it should be a little bit
hard.
harder. So what's making it do that?
And why?
And
is
if
it-
you're going to buy any sandwich from like a
why is
petrol
it?
station,
It feels like it's in a
why
condom
egg?
vending machine.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What's the other thing? Like an
That's the
unbreakable comb? Was
Yeah.
one of the other.
It has some
Why?
pretty gross things in there.
It's
Why-
almost like Fry makes bad life decisions.
Yeah,
Almost almost.
That might be an
There's
ongoing
a
theme.
really weird joke that doesn't really go anywhere right in that sequence as well, where she's like, I'm going to check. Leela says she has to check the fluid levels, and she pulls out like the world's longest dipstick.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, we're all right for cola syrup. It's like all she's checking.
Don't know how they thought of that gag, but I like it.
Let's go for a bit of our vote. First vote of a season.
Oh,
Amazon Women in the Mood
Versus this.
versus Parasites
I'm gonna go
Lost.
with Parasites Lost.
Tell me more.
Show your
why.
workings.
Okay, okay. Like Amazon has some great comedy stuff, but
But football in the groin has a football in the groin.
Football in the groin. It's just not as enjoyable as like we talked about this last week. It's not as enjoyable as it was as a kid. You think it's funnier than it really is, and Snoo Snoo can only go
Man,
so
we
far.
really had an expectation for that episode that did
We
not
did,
live
yeah,
up.
and borne up by all the top lists, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
this is a classic episode. It's the best.
And-
Some I found had it as number one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there
yeah,
is
yeah.
some, like Brannigan, love his character, and there is some great comedy stuff in it. But as a whole, the episode just kind of goes, well, this one episode, like,
I just don't like the War of the Sexes stuff as much anymore. Even though it's
It's
played
handled
of-
relatively
It's handled
well.
relatively well. With the modern discourse over that subject, it doesn't ring as true anymore.
yeah.
You know what it is?
That
It's-
stuff's not as funny anymore
No.
because the stakes are way higher.
Yeah.
People have realized how serious the problem is now.
It's not that it's handled badly, but it's not handled smartly. Like, if
Yeah.
you were going to tackle that, usually you would find a way of satirizing it better rather than just being like, men versus women. It'd be like, hey, remember how wrong this was?
Yeah.
And playing off that, whereas this is not being offensive to women, but it's not making a comment.
It's Poplars.
Yeah.
Poplars looks at the vegetarian and meat industry issue in a funny way that mocks both sides, right?
Yes.
And it does something with it that makes you think about it, question it, have fun with it, but not feel like you've been browbeat. And yeah, it doesn't make you feel browbeat, but it just doesn't feel like it hits the issue on both sides very well.
As we talked about, it did do the matter of whenever we produce a sexist joke, it gets immediately followed up by physically beating the men. It's like we're
But it's
giving them comeuppance, but other than that,
But it's still a platform for 5 sexist jokes in a row.
yes,
Yeah.
Right.
exactly.
It's still,
Written by all male writers.
yeah, it's problematic.
Whereas now the writers' room, and I especially like I know one of the I can't remember if I said if she was a writer or director. Writer, I believe, will be Al Gore's daughter, Kristen Gore.
so-
In the second one, they will have at the very least one female
least
writer
one,
in the
yeah.
room, which you have a lot more in comedy now. Rightfully so.
Well,
So
yeah, so
bang.
Parasites Lost is my vote.
I'm on the same boat. I want a bit of worm in my daily discourse now.
Yeah, I think so. For its combination of character development, one-shot gags, and Zoidberg.
Yes.
Is a trifecta of awesome
Cyborg?
Cyborg versus
Yes,
Zoid.
please.
Zoidberg.
I need that
is
in my
half
life.
cyborg.
Zoidberg the
I
Zoid-
need that in my life.
my
Zoidberg
God.
the cyborg. Zoidberg the cyborg. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Is that a tongue twister or am I just wrong?
no, that's a bit of
It's
tongue twister.
me,
Zoidberg,
Zoidberg, the cyborg.
Call me Cyborg. No, yeah, but if you have good Zoidberg comedy elements, the episode automatically gets a bit better.
And I'm a sucker for the Ross and Rachel type effect. Like anything that progresses Fry and Leela and the whole will they, won't they thing is all good with me.
Sure,
Fry's,
done. Decided.
Fry's not as bad as
knocked
Ross,
off
though.
the number 1 episode in everyone's best of lists.
It's
With the first
very
episode.
short.
With the
That's
next episode.
snoo-snoo.
Gusto.
Bam.
I think we got to do the Mr. Worm.
The King of the Worms.
Mr. Worm King.
Does he call himself the mayor?
The mayor.
He calls himself the mayor, but
Yeah.
he's clearly a king.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
mayor. Like a weird title. I can't remember.
It's like,
I'm the
what's
mayor.
it, when it's like, you get out of here, I'm the king of the worms, or something like that.
That's a
I've been here.
That's a mafia boss.
Damn it.
It was more like the pimply teen from Simpsons. Like, Why did you come here?
A bit pitchy.
We're way off. We're all so bad.
My great ancestors came over here on a sandwich.
That's kind of,
Yeah.
it needs to be deeper than that.
Were we watching the episode?
I don't know. It's a
like,
hard voice to do.
Yeah.
You've come here, universe.
That's closer, yeah.
Yeah.
You ever
yeah.
wonder what makes special sauce so special?
Yo.
Yo.
Yeah,
I like
that's
it,
it,
I like
that's
it,
it.
yeah.
God,
That's
we
much
got there
better.
in the end.
Yeah.
That's a collective voice.
Yeah, we kind of work towards it
Yeah.
between us.
Take
yeah.
one bit of each. That's what it takes to make a real good Futurama voice on this show. We have to work together.
That's how the pros do it. Yeah.
How much does Dan Harmon do voices?
he does a lot of peripheral characters.
Yeah, I get the feeling that he does that. Like, is there any show that he's like stars in?
Oh yeah, he's very Rick and Morty.
I thought he just made that show. I didn't
So
realize he was in it.
so I will
This we need to googling noise.
Okay.
We always go to I Dream of Jeannie for waiting music, don't we?
So catchy though.
Oh, there you go. Well, so
Tell us, Sean.
Rick Sanchez. Oh, really? Okay. Well, no. He was just a creator for Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't
But
think he's in
he
it.
is also a voice actor. And if we grab Futurama, oh, he was on the Sarah Silverman program, which explains
Okay, sure.
where that may have come. So in Rick and Morty, he's Bird Person.
Bird person.
Bird Person.
Yes.
But it doesn't tell me. Maybe I got it wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe
I don't think he has main roles in stuff.
You know
right?
what?
He just comes in and does voices.
I
Does
may
the
have given
odd
you a bum
voice.
steer. I don't think he is in Futurama.
It's a really interesting thing to do as a TV creator, right? Is to,
Yeah.
You didn't think that was him?
No, I must have heard it wrong. Let's do that. Let's get my information right before someone just tweets us and goes,
It's not Dan Harmon at all. That's this other person.
okay, here we go.
So you look up the episode, find out King of the Worms, find out who that is.
I'm the king of the worms. How did they not do? They should have they should have saved the Titanic parody for this.
Okay, what's his name? Lord Mayor of Cologne. Lord Mayor was his name.
Lord Mayor.
Colon.
Colon.
I had a
Sorry. David Herman.
That is not the same.
No, David Herman.
And
so
who
that
is David
he
Herman?
does Mayor Poopenmeyer, Wormstrom, Slurms McKenzie,
slams.
Scruffy,
Yeah.
He does Scruffy.
Yeah.
Scruffy. Okay, cool.
and the Dean Vernon.
Robert
House.
Lord Mayor of Conan. I had
Cologne.
I had a great grandfather who was Lord Mayor of London.
Really?
Yeah.
The Lord Mayor of London.
Lord Mayor of London. Yes.
What happened to you guys?
Yeah. Hard times.
Fucked
Hard
up.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for correcting yourself
Myself.
from the beginning of the beginning of the podcast. Well done, you.
We'll manage to put that at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll say it, then we'll automatically fix it. Yeah.
Well, it's all right. In a few episodes ago, that at this point is just about to be released. We talk about the $5 million man.
I thought it was a $1 million man.
It's the $6 million
Oh,
man.
Ah, poop.
And I was like, oh, do we understand NOS? No, we say it several times. I can't cut around this.
Damn it.
Own it. Own it.
Those budget cuts.
$5.5 million.
Yeah. We're rounding.
Today it'll get you like one bionic leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
It needs to be like
What, 80s, 70s, 80s?
$6 billion man. I thought they were trying to do that with Mark Wahlberg.
The $6 billion man.
Yeah.
Why does Mark Wahlberg keep... Okay.
That's its own podcast series, I believe. Why is Mark Wahlberg ... I think that's
He's just-
that's the whole show.
Because he can.
You just
Mark,
Mark-
everything.
Mark Zoidberg?
No. It's like in the Zoidberg live action movie by Michael Bay.
Make it
do it.
stop.
He'll
Make
say-
it stop.
he'll say
So,
yes. He'll
if
say
you
yes.
guys come back next week, we will be here for A Tale of Two Santas.
Yes.
good.
Unfortunately, not the return of John Goodman.
And
that's
unfortunately,
sad.
not anywhere near Christmas. Unless you're doing Christmas in July. So join us
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah, it might work out. Except it'll probably be released in August, but that's not for nothing.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, until then, I have been Sean.
I've been Phil.
I've been James.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Generic movie discussion time.
Why are you still here?
What's it like?
Why are you
At
still
the end
here?
of Ferris Bueller? What are you still doing here? Go on.
Go away.
Movie's
know,
over.
And also the end of Deadpool as well.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is my first introduction to that gag.
Really?
I'd never
Oh,
seen
you haven't
Ferris.
seen Bueller?
Ferris Bueller's great.
It's weird, but great.
Weird, but great.
I really love Ferris, but he's an irresponsible asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that all our outtakes are never about Futurama. Like,
Yeah, no.
everyone's like, why don't they just do a movie podcast?
Pod culture. How is there not a podcasting group called Pod Culture?
Is there not?
Surely there is.
Well, we need to put it
There
up
must be.
before.
There's
It.
so
Pod
many
culture.
podcasting groups.
Yeah,
now.
pod culture.
So we've got 2 weeks to put it up.
Yep.
Otherwise, someone will take it as soon as they hear it.
Yeah, as soon as they hear it. One of our many
Pod
listeners.
culture. There probably
Pod
is
culture.
a podcast called Pod Culture.
I'm gonna
Google that
Pod
shit.
culture. I wrote pod cuckery. and cut.
Tom,
And
press
cut.
stop.
Oh, he's still dead.